Stop the presses, hold the phone. I don't even want to do my normal intro. Today, I have an Amazon package, and inside it comes a box you may recognize, the Thomas Balisong box. And what's inside is, quite frankly, just unbelievable. Holy cow. I'm going to do my best not to yap at the beginning of this video because I know that you guys want to see and hear about the full steel Thomas Balisong Astra. But I do have to kind of yap about it a little bit because there is a lot going on here. Also, spare hardware. Wow. Let's discuss the elephant in the room. This Balisong is $22 on Amazon, 23, 24, somewhere in that area. And I've seen that it goes as low as $17 on Thomas Balisong's website. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Ethan, it's probably got no bushings and it's probably bad and all of this stuff. No, this is an Astra. Like, the design is a collaboration between Serum Velocity and Thomas Balisong. The Astra was a $400-ish Balisong made out of titanium. You know, it was all the works. It was great. I ended up giving mine to Ted as a little gift when he kind of took a step back from the hobby. But it was a great Balisong. And now this is that design made out of full steel at $20, a price point that is just unbelievable for me to even comprehend, considering that the Impulse came out a few months ago. How long has the Impulse been out? Maybe a year at this point? Almost a year? I actually have no idea. But the Impulse came out at $40 and blew everyone's minds. This one is almost half of that. It's almost a suspiciously good price. I mean, when you think about the fact that this is a collaboration, that's something that you would usually expect to up the price, not lower the price. And you might be surprised to hear I actually do have rather mixed feelings on this price point in general for something like this. But that's a conversation that we should probably have in another video. If that's a conversation that you guys want to have, let me know. I'll maybe make another video about why I feel that way about this thing. But this is the full steel Astra from Thomas Balisong, purchased with my own money. He did not send it to me for free. Ted offered to send me his, but at this price, it would have been cheaper to buy this than to ship that one back and forth. So it's kind of a no-brainer at that price. But my number one question is it good? Because we have had experience with full steel Balisongs before. And I think mine is actually in here. It's a little gory in here, I know. I'm sorry, I'm still looking to fix that. But Nabali's did release the Canyon at $45, and it was largely praised when it first came out. Now it kind of has a reputation of being a little odd. It's heavy, carries a lot of momentum. It doesn't really flip like anything else. And so beginners can kind of get caught in like a reverse Squiddy syndrome trap where they go to flip anything else and it just feels really light and weird and etc. But regardless, the Canyon I think is still a decent flipping Balisong for $45. So can the Astra full steel overcome that? I mean, it's beautiful. It looks incredible. This thing is running on bushings. We've got spindle spacers down here at the bottom. And it comes in at 4.66 ounces. All of that for $20 on average dollars, depending on where you order it from. Now, I ordered this from Amazon just because, you know, it came literally a day and a half after I ordered it. If he can keep stock of that, that is a pretty unbeatable price. Also, oh my goodness, me oh my, those are some thick boy washers. Holy. So yeah, I'm interested in this thing for a lot of reasons, but I'm most interested to flip it. So I'm not going to talk any longer. Let's see how a $20 bushing Balisong that isn't a clone, possibly one of the cheapest Balisongs that we've seen from an original maker in the history of the hobby. I mean, I'm not aware of any others that even really come close. So wow. I mean, it kind of feels exactly how I expected. I think that this actually I was going to say it kind of feels like the Canyon because it's very heavy. Don't get me wrong. 4.66 ounces doesn't sound like a lot. But when you have handles made of full steel, there's so much momentum being carried by every single part of the Balisong that it just feels heavier than it really is, because you have to, it carries a ton of momentum. So you have to put a lot of effort into starting and stopping it. But once you do start and stop it, it carries that momentum unbelievably well. And that's also something that was kind of a characteristic of the Canyon. I think the Canyon is far more, actually the Canyon feels lighter and a little bit more well balanced weight distribution wise to me in like direct one-on-one comparison. But this is first impressions. Obviously I'm going to flip this thing for a little bit and then I will come out with a follow-up video telling you my thoughts. But my first impressions is that it is heavy, carries a lot of momentum. It's a little bit fatiguing to flip, but man, does it do the tricks that I want it to. And I'm kind of shocked by that. Like, it fans decently well. It choker fans decently well. Rollovers feel really nice. Like, it sticks to your finger. Wrist bumps, actually wrist bumps really well. Aerials are like decently predictable. The thing with steel, I mean, if I take you through a more normal Balisong, we have a much lighter, less dense material. And then at the ends of the handles or in the pivots or the blade or whatever, you have steel. So there's only a certain amount of the Balisong that's carrying momentum relative to the rest of the handles. Especially something like, I don't know, not the cheese, anything with screws at the end of the handles. Those screws are carrying more momentum than the rest of the knife. So you can kind of comparatively feel that the rest of the knife isn't carrying a ton of momentum. And it's not to say it isn't carrying momentum, it's just not carrying much compared to those steel screws. The thing with full steel Balisongs is that every part of the handle is carrying that same amount of momentum, because I'm willing to bet that these spacers down here might be the lightest part of this whole Balisong. Although I'm assuming they're still steel, so that probably isn't really much the case. That being said, look how thin these freaking scales are. It's fully sandwich. The tune feels not amazing. It feels kind of like my Canyon does, which my Canyon is very dry and very loose right now. This kind of has that same dry and loose feel. I mean, here, let me see if I can... I'll oil it. I don't usually do this on Balisongs that I just opened, but I am generally interested to see if this kind of if this improves the tune at all. We'll see. But, I mean, I can tell it's on bushings. At least I think I can tell it's on bushings. Like, it feels decent. The sound is nothing to write home about. There's a small ring to it. Actually, there's a small... Now that I've oiled it, there's a small ring to just flipping it in general. Has that changed the overall... No. But, I mean, this is $20 fucking dollars, dude. What the hell? I kind of put myself in a place where I'm just, especially with like figuring out balance and stuff like that, I'm not thinking about price that much. So it might sound like I'm criticizing this thing quite a bit. But for $20, can you complain about anything on a Balisong for $20? I mean, obviously, if this thing was like cutting me because it was so sharp, or if it was super uncomfortable, or if it couldn't fan or choker fan or like roll over at all. But I'm sure you guys have been able to tell I'm not having much difficulty flipping this, which for $20 is just unbelievably impressive. If we back up from the price a little bit, there's a little bit, it's heavy, it carries a lot of momentum. It probably might fall into the same level that the Canyon does, where people are like, yeah, you almost might want to spend a little bit more on something that's a little more standard so that you get used to it. It's kind of fatiguing to flip. Maybe it's because I'm trying to flip it faster than it wants to be. This might be something that just ends up being a very slow, flowy knife. which now that I make that adjustment, it actually feels much, much better to flip. So maybe this isn't something that you're going to be able to flip at your own speed. But again, these are all things that I'm going to have to answer in the follow-up video. For now, I am genuinely, unbelievably shocked that what I'm holding cost, I mean, less than this guy. Usually my Transformers are my cheap hobby because Balisongs are so comparatively expensive, but wow. Um, do we have a game changer on our hands? The question remains to be answered, but for now I have to say that I am genuinely impressed with what I'm feeling here. It does what I want it to do. And for $20. I really can't stress that enough. That is just an insane price. Especially for the Astra. Like, the Astra was a good titanium Balisong. Seeing it this cheap and this well represented is crazy. Wow. All right, well, that's crazy. I am going to go spend a little bit of time flipping this thing and get my real thoughts before I really dig into whether or not this is a game changer for the hobby, especially the budget hobby. Yeah, you know, the crazy part is I was going to film a beginner Balisong like roundup for 2026, either before or right after I got home from Blade Show. And if I would have done that, it would have been instantly outdated, just like every other one that I've done. So now, I'm glad that I waited. That's pretty cool. We'll have to see how. Gosh, I have so many questions, so many things to talk about, so many, not so many, but a few concerns, to be honest with you. But again, all conversations for a different video. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you all in the next one. Wow.